It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? It's a beautiful day in this beauty wood. A beautiful day for a beauty. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Please won't you be my neighbor? Hey neighbor, I'll be back soon.
And the Peloponnesian War, a game designed by HERMAN. Maneuver your generals, hoplites, and navies to fight battles and attempt to bring the war to an end on your terms. What comes with this game is a 22 by 34 inch mounted map board, 2 mounted strategy boards, 2 counter sheets, 4 player aid cards, 1 rulebook, 1 playbook, and 2 6-sided dice. This is a 1 to 2 player game. Complexity medium high, solitaire suitability sky high. MMP, Brazen Chariots, Battle for Tobruk, 1941. Brazen Chariots is a battalion combat series, BCS. And what you get with this game is a BCS Volume 1.2 rulebook, full color, 2 versions 1.2 BCS charts and tables, BCS Volume 1.2 crib note booklets, a Brazen Chariots game-specific rulebook, 3 full-color 22 by 34 inch maps, 4 counter sheets, that's 1,120 counters, and 12 scenarios. The game and system is designed by Dean Essig, published by Multi-Man Publisher. Also from MMP, ASL Starter Kit number 4, Pacific Theater of Operations. These are the contents of the game: 3 8x22 geomorphic map boards, letters M, N, and O for the advanced quad leader system, 1 full counter sheet of half-inch counters, 1 full counter sheet of half-inch and 5/8 inch counters, 8 scenarios on cardstock, 1 bifold quick reference data card, 1 32-page rulebook, 2 6-sided dice. Decision Games, Strategy and Tactics Press. This is the Strategy and Tactics Quarterly, Summer 2019. D-Day, the 6th of June, 1944. Hammer of the Scots, 3rd edition. Hammer of the Scots brings the rebellion of the Braveheart, William Wallace, to life. Game designed by Tom Dalgleish and Jerry Taylor. Compass Games, New Directions in Gaming. Cradle of Civilization. This game includes 2 games set in ancient times: Samaria to Persia and Alexander vs. Darius, a game designed by Sean and Daniel Chick. Complexity 2 out of 10 for Samaria to Persia, 4 out of 10 for Alexander vs. Darius. Solitaire suitability 1 out of 10 for Samaria to Persia, 7 out of 10 for Alexander vs. Darius. This is a 1 to 6 player game, playing time approximately 3 hours. What you get with this game is 1 mounted map, 22 by 34 inches, 9 full sheets of large 0.65 inch counters, 2 rule booklets, 6-player reference cards, 48 nation city epoch tiles, 12 6-sided dice, and, wait for it, a box and a lid. I know that was satisfying to a few of you. Yes, it was a moment. Tiny Battle Publishing. Tiny package, big fun. Rifles in the Pacific. Rifles in the Pacific is the second of Gottardo Zancani's solitaire rifles series, Rifles in the Ardennes.
Hi, I'm Gottardo Zancani.
This is the Pacific version. Obviously, it's called Rifles in the Pacific. And what's included in this game, and I read from the website because Mark Walker's got a sense of humor. Here goes. 1 full sheet of beautiful 1-inch square die-cut counters. 3 abstracted maps representing jungles, beaches, you know, typical Pacific theater terrain. 2 army sheets. 8 action-packed missions and a campaign that uses them. 1 full-color rulebook. And 1 mission-ready Ziploc bag. You know, Gottardo, he reminds me a little bit of Sal Vasta, Liquid Sal, you know, or Saint Sal. Depends what your problem is. And, you know, I could picture them when they're young and small, running in the Sicilian fields with cannoli in hand. But there's a problem, I think. Having a name like Gottardo. First of all, when you're young, the kid's running away. The mother wants to call him, Gottardo! It's too long. The kid's already gone. So that's why I call Gottardo Zank. I think it's practical. Jeff McAleer of the Gaming Gang is taking a look at Combat Commander Europe, a game designed by Chad Jensen, published by GMT. The legend is back, and he has a video called Still Breathing, Derek Case, Single-Handed Warfare. BLASTPOP weighs in with his opinion and reviews the game Storm over Normandy by Multi-Man Publishing. The Professor Riccardo Masini is live, or almost live, in the San Marino Game Convention in Italy. And talking about game conventions, I just came back from Stack Academy, I'd say about 2 weeks ago, and I'll insert a few little clips of what I filmed there now, here. Okay, I'm with Thibaut de la Touane over here. Salut Thibaut.
Hello.
Thibaut, you're okay with doing this in English?
Yes.
Okay, now, I'm a big fan of your game, V Commandos. Huge fan. Now you're going to have Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
Now you are co-designer here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm the main designer, and there is a co-designer.
Okay.
The designer of Time Stories.
Now a game like this, like Assassin's Creed, okay? How long does it take you to develop a game like this?
It's quite long. We started more than 1 year ago, and it's based on our first game, V Commandos. So we also worked a lot on V Commandos to develop the gameplay, and then we continue to work on that. So.
Okay, and this game here, this is still on Kickstarter right now, the Assassin's Creed?
No, it's the Kickstarter is over.
It's over.
But you can still pre-order the game.
We can still pledge on the game, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, this is his full name is Thibaut de la Touane. Am I actually missing something here?
No, it's good.
Okay. There you go. What's happening on the big board? I'll tell you what's happening on the big board. Kevin, CEO and President for Life, continues his overview of the first turn-in impressions of Less Than 60 Miles, also recon of the same game, a game published by Thin Red Line Games and designed by Marco Cimino and Fabrizio Vianello, and starts Axis Empire's Total Krieg, the 1939 gameplay. A game published by Decision Games and designed by Alan Emmerich, Thomas Prowell, and Salvatore Vasta. You know Kevin Sharp, the CEO. You know, I love the guy, right? I mean, who doesn't? You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I'm in a hurry to finishing up the show, and I go and check out who's putting out what. And if it's not the Player's Aid, then it's Kevin, right? So this time it's Kevin. I'm in a hurry, right? So I listen to what he says, and I've spoken to him about this. I've said, Kevin, sometimes I'm in a hurry, and you don't say the full name of the game or a system or something. And basically, he kind of does this to me. You know what I'm saying? And for example, this is what he said in his last video.
Welcome back to Big Board. We're having a look at GD40. It's the TCS system from MMP.
He doesn't care. You know, let's say there's a new guy watching my show for the first time. He wants to get into war games, you know? You know what the guy's learned? The alphabet. He doesn't know what the hey is going on. Come on, Kevin, manatcha. Huh? A bit of heart. Counterproductive Games is checking out General Quarters 3, Battle of Denmark Strait, using topside minis. Gilbert Collins takes a brief look on the war game The Battle of Belmont, designed by John Paniski and published by Compass Games. AJ Toynbee of Hexes and Soldiers has a video out on war game stuff, things, things. You know, AJ, he's all cool with his tattoos, long hair, beard, you know, puppy dog eyes, and talks like, you know, things, you know? What's the matter with the guy? Lol. Jan, our German friend of Let's Play History, in his Let's Talk segment, Kolonialismus in Spielen. The man famously known as Calandale, Enrico Viglino, gives us his review of Alexander, an old Avalon Hill game designed by Don Greenwood and Gary Gygax, and also Freezing Death, Finnish Winter War, designed by Antti Lemusjärvi and Olli Klimola. Holy moly, that was difficult. Published by Linden Lake Games. Enrico also gives us a Freezing Death 2 and wrap with a review. Mauro Faina and his Gianni Zero podcast has a couple of episodes out. San Marino Game Convention, also Straff Expedition with Andrea Brusatti, and Card-Driven War Games talks about Twilight Struggle. The soft-spoken but formidable foe, Jonathan Townsend, is doing a solitaire advanced squad leader, The Beach Defense. Edward of Heavy Cardboard gives us a teaching playthrough of Cataclysm, a game designed by Scott Muldoon and William Terdoslavich, published by GMT. ARDWULF of ARDWULF'S LAIR, he's on the table with Beyond the Rhine. He's cracking Antwerp, the opening setup. This is a game, an OCS game, published by Multiman Publishing, and was also live with RPG and Wargame Chat. ARDWULF is also doing an unboxing of a new Advanced Squad Leader Starter Kit number 4, Pacific Theater of Operation. This is a game published by MMP. Jeff the Capuano is doing a Thunder-Knees Learning the Game, a game designed by Frank Chadwick, published by Victory Point Games. This week, the gentlemen of the Player's Aid, Alexander and Grant, gives us a playthrough of Warfighter World War II Pacific from DVG, and also an unboxing of Tango Down from Tiny Battle Publishing. These guys just keep pumping out the videos. They are unboxing the expansions to Command & Colors Napoleonics. Which ones? All of them! Marco Wargamer is reviewing Königsberg, the Soviet attack on East Prussia, 1945. A game designed by Stefan Ekstrom, published by Revolution Games. Thursday Night Gamers are back with Storming the Chateau, artillery reaction fire in the Library of Napoleonic Battles. Liz of Beyond Solitaire is doing a decluttering. Deuces. 2-player games. She's throwing them out. 2-player games, all of them. I don't get it. Wayne Hansen in his recon section is unboxing Hearts and Minds Vietnam 1965 to 1975, 3rd edition, a game designed by John Paniski, published by Compass Games. A company that gave us a box and a lid. GIMPY of the GIMPY Gamers gives us a overview and playthrough of U-Boot, the board game by Phalanx, and also Nations at War Bootcamp 18 by Lock and Load Publishing. Dave of the Centurions review. He'll tell you all about it.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. This is Dave from the Centurions Review, and I'm having a little trouble with my voice today because I'm sick, but here at the Centurions Review, we keep making reviews and we keep doing unboxing videos whether we feel well or not. This week on our website, we will be reviewing Transylvania. It's an interesting game from Mayfair Games in 1981. It came in microgame format. It's an area control game where you build your forces every turn. And essentially, you're a group of civilians along with some knights and some clerics who are tired of some vampires in a castle raiding your village, so you go out and try to destroy the vampire's castle. It's pretty cool. The first game we'll be doing a first look at on our YouTube channel this week is Autumn Mist, The Battle of the Bulge. It's a Brian Train game. It was produced by Fiery Dragon Games. It's an interesting game that comes in a steel box, which is highly unusual for a board game, especially a micro game. The second game we'll be doing a first look at on our YouTube channel is Castle Ravenloft, the board game. It's a Dungeons and Dragons game, and of course it's a dungeon delve. It includes tons of nice miniatures. It also has 13 scenarios, so should be a lot there to keep you occupied with tons of replayability. I look forward to seeing you guys on our website and on our YouTube channel. Have a good evening.
Dobroje Utra, hier ist gerade 10 Uhr morgens. I am Volker Runke, and Dan has invited me to spend a few minutes with you talking about my next game design to hit the field, Nevsky. Nevsky is not a coin series game, nor is it a card-driven game like my other designs, Wilderness War and Labyrinth. It is instead the first volume in what I intend to be a new series that looks at medieval warfare at the operational level. And I call that series Levy and Campaign because that's what players do in each of 2 segments of every turn, levy their armies, and then command them on campaign in the field. You can go to the GMT Games P500 page for the game Nevsky and read all about the setting and what the game is about and the story it's trying to tell. And you can read several articles in Inside GMT about the mechanics of the game. How does gameplay work in quite some detail. So instead of that, what I'd like to talk about today is just 3 aspects of Nevsky that are atypical of war games and different from other games that I've designed. And the first of those is how we represent the lords in the game. Medieval lords are really the focus of play in the Levy and Campaign series as they were in medieval warfare. And on the game board, each lord is represented by a cylinder piece with a coat of arms representing that lord on it, and these pieces move across the map. To show in detail what the forces are and other capabilities that that lord is bringing to play, I used these mats that you see on either side of the game board. These will be 5-inch square thick cardboard mats that show for each lord various military units that are wooden pieces, vassals that bring additional units to the field, assets like coin and provender and transport, and special capabilities that are represented by playing cards that you see tucked under these mats. For example, each lord on his map will have up to 2 cards that the lord can tuck under the near edge of the map and show special things like crossbowmen or Russian rivercraft or warrior monks or what have you. And so that leaves the setup of the game board quite flexible when you lay it out on your table. I've laid it out here in a fairly typical situation during a scenario, and it's the point of view that you would have if you were playing the game all by yourself. You're taking both sides, the Teutons and the Russians. So you can put the mats of either side on either side of the board, in the west and in the east, and you can orient them towards yourself. If it were 2 players, they would probably be sitting to my left and right. They would orient their mats accordingly. And additionally, whenever there's a battle, you can slide those mats to face each other so that you see the lords in array, front, left, right, and their forces opposed to each other as they apply hits and rout and so forth. Or if you want to keep it even simpler than that, you can simply leave the mats where they are, and we'll also provide you a little simple battle mat, another 5 by 5 inch cardboard mat, and you just array the cylinders of the lords on the mat and play from there. Either way, it'll work well. So that's what these things are to the side and how we portray details about the lords as they levy their forces and fight their battles. The second aspect that I would like to talk about is what you see here along the top of the game board in these colors. This is the calendar, and it represents in 2 rows about 2 years of time, and each box on the calendar is a 40-day turn or a 40-day campaign. And so it's a turn record track in the traditional sense, and also a general information track for things like victory points. But what's different about it is that it also tracks the service obligation of each lord, and if you want to play with this option, each of the lord's vassals as well, with these markers, which are service markers, that will show when is that lord no longer obligated to stay in the campaign or incentivized to stay in the campaign. This temporal limit on how long a feudal lord would serve is an important aspect of feudal warfare, and somewhat more so than in modern war or total war situations where you're fighting to the end. And so players have to manage their lord's service, and the track, this calendar track and these markers give us the opportunity to simulate all kinds of effects, such as if a lord's army is not being properly fed or suffers some adverse effect, then we can slide his marker on the calendar towards the current turn, showing that he's less likely to stay in the fight. On the other hand, if you pay him or things are going well in terms of looting enemy resources and he can reward himself and his troops, then you can slide the marker in the other direction. And so we have a very dynamic simulation of this aspect related to time of feudal warfare. briefly, I want to talk about how is it that lords go on campaign and maneuver across the map. And for that, there's a very simple set of command cards that players will select for their lords and arrange into a little stack. And as the campaign proceeds, alternate flipping over the top card of their stack. And what it means is that you have to think in advance in what order do you want to have which of your lords actually do something, and then you're committed to that order, not to the moves. And this is a very quick and simple way of simulating aspects like poor communications over rough terrain, and also poor trust and a creaky system of military hierarchy among all of these somewhat independent feudal lords. So I hope you'll check out more details on GMT Games P500 page for Nevsky and on Inside GMT. And until we meet again, well, na zdrowie, Prost und zum Wohl. Das Bier in die Früh. Herrlichkeit.
Sergio Schiavi's From Salerno to Rome. Salerno to Rome allows you to simulate the first 10 months of the military campaign in Italy during World War II, from the landing in Salerno, September 43, to the liberation of Rome, June 44. This game enables you to fight the battles that took place in Italy from September 43 to May 44, Salerno, Cassino, Anzio, Ortona. Scale of the game, the time scale, 1 turn equals 1 month. The unit scale, brigades, regiments, battalions, and tank groups of 15 to 30. The map scale is 1 hex equals 5 kilometers. This is a 2-player game. Playing time is 2 hours for the shortest scenario, and 6 to 12 hours for the entire campaign. Complexity is 3 out of 5. Solitaire suitability is 2.5 out of 5. What's in the box? 2 22 by 34 inch maps, 550 counters, 2 command displays, various cardboard player aids, color rulebook, and 2 6-sided dice. Lock and Load Publishing, Space Infantry Resurgence. A game designed by Gottardo Zancani and Blackwell Hurd. This is a 1 to 3 player game. The game scale, individual units, enemies, and tanks. The mission turn time, 5 to 15 minutes. Campaign turn time, 30 minutes to 2 hours. Campaign time, 5 to 10 hours, campaign dependent. The map scale, individual areas between 3 and 5 meters. The complexity is 3 out of 10, and this is a solitaire game. Hollenspiel's The Mary and Tom Show, Episode 78. dinosaurs, everybody.
I'll be back soon.
At this freak show one time, and I saw these Siamese elephants. It's joined at the end of their trunks like that. And this trainer would make them stand up on their back feet like that, and it had their trunks stretched like that. Then this little monkey would come out. There and dance a merengue right out there. Kind of felt sorry for them. They couldn't go like the other elephants when they go. All they could do is just blow and go norkin. One would sneeze, the other's eyes get real big.
Mama. Sure that little asshole's through.